Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
All right, let's get into it. Today, we're putting on our detective hats to crack the case on one of the most common and honestly kind of confusing messages your car can send you, the P0172 code. You know the feeling. You're just driving along, minding your own business, and then, boom, that little orange light pops up on the dashboard. It's not just some random warning, it's a secret message from deep inside your engine. And a lot of the time, it's the start of a real mystery. So what's it actually trying to say? So our case file for today is all about the trouble code P0172. The official line is "System too rich." Now that might sound straightforward, but it actually points to a tricky imbalance happening right under the hood. So let's start gathering our evidence. Now, what's cool is that long before you ever need to plug in a fancy scanner, your car is already giving you clues. These are the real-world symptoms you can actually see, feel, and even smell that point us right to our culprit code. And these first clues, they're usually pretty hard to miss. Maybe your engine feels kind of rough and shaky when you're stopped at a traffic light, or it just doesn't want to go when you hit the gas. You'll definitely notice you're suddenly best friends with the attendant at the gas station. But the real smoking guns? That unmistakable smell of raw gasoline, or literally seeing black smoke puffing out your exhaust. Classic signs of an engine that's running way too rich. Okay, so we've gathered our clues from the scene. Now it's time to decode the message itself. What in the world does your car's computer even mean when it says the system is too rich? To put it simply, P0172 means the recipe is wrong. The air and fuel mixture in one part of your engine, they call it bank 1, is totally out of whack. It's getting way too much gasoline, or it's not getting enough air to properly burn it. Your car's brain, the ECM, has spotted this problem and is basically raising its hand for help. This is a fantastic way to picture what's happening. Think of your engine like a campfire. An optimal burn, there on the left, that's a nice, clean, efficient flame. A rich burn, on the right, that's like just dumping way too much fuel on the fire all at once. You get a ton of smoke, wasted energy, and not a lot of heat. That is exactly what's going on inside your engine. And here's the thing, your car is pretty smart. The computer sees this rich condition and it starts fighting back. It actively tries to fix the problem by dialing back the amount of fuel it's sending. But when it finally throws that P0172 code, it's pretty much waving a white flag. It's telling you, hey, I've cut the fuel as much as I possibly can, and it's still too rich. I need you to step in. So now we understand the problem. The next step in any good investigation is to figure out who, or I guess what, is causing it. This is where we line up the usual suspects behind this little automotive crime. A good mechanic doesn't just start guessing, they play the odds. And this chart right here is their playbook. As you can see, a huge 40% of the time, the problem is somewhere in the fuel system itself. But issues with the air intake and different sensors are also major players. This chart is basically our roadmap for the investigation. Let's put some names to those numbers. Our list of prime suspects includes things like a fuel injector that's stuck open and just dumping extra gas into the engine. Or maybe a dirty mass airflow sensor that's telling the computer there's less air coming in than there really is. It could even be something as simple as a super clogged up air filter that's basically choking the engine. And of course, a bad sensor, like an O2 sensor, can feed the computer bad info, tricking it into adding too much fuel. This right here, this is the whole case in a nutshell. That code gets triggered because of a really simple but powerful imbalance. Either the actual amount of fuel is greater than what the computer expects, or the actual amount of air is less than what it expects. The entire diagnostic process is just figuring out which side of that equation is broken. So how does a professional take all these clues and all these suspects and actually pinpoint the one culprit? Well, it's not magic. It's a systematic investigation. A mechanic's investigation usually follows 3 key steps. First, they interrogate the car's computer, looking at live data to see exactly how it's trying to compensate. Second, they inspect the scene of the crime, a good old-fashioned visual check for obvious stuff like a filthy air filter or cracked hose. And finally, they test the prime suspects directly, checking things like fuel pressure and sensor readings to get a confession, so to speak. And here is a really clever trick the pros use. Remember how the code was for bank 1, just one side of the engine? Well, most V-type engines have a bank 2 that's probably working just fine. By comparing the data from the bad side to the data from the good side, they can instantly see what's out of line. It's a brilliant way to speed up the diagnosis.
So, we've identified the problem, we've lined up the suspects, and we know how to solve the case. But what happens if you just don't? What's the verdict if this automotive crime goes unsolved?
This is the question everybody asks. I mean, the car still runs, so is it really that big of a deal? Can you just put a little piece of black tape over the light and keep on driving? Well, the short answer is no. And the reason why is all about preventing a small problem from turning into a wallet-destroying catastrophe. And this is where it gets expensive. Really expensive. When your engine runs rich, it's sending a whole bunch of unburned fuel straight into your exhaust system. That raw fuel can superheat and literally melt the guts of your catalytic converter, a critical and very, very pricey part. A repair bill for that can easily top $1,500. Ouch. And honestly, it doesn't just stop at the converter. It's a total chain reaction. That excess fuel creates carbon buildup that fouls up your spark plugs, which causes misfires. That unburned fuel, like we said, overheats the whole exhaust system. It's a cascade of failures that all starts with that one little light you might be tempted to ignore. So if you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. That check engine light, especially for a P0172 code, isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's a critical warning. It's your car telling you that its health is at risk, and ignoring it can lead to some really severe and costly damage down the road. Ultimately, your car is communicating with you all the time. It has its own language of lights, sounds, and codes. P0172 is just one word in that language. So the real question isn't whether your car is talking. The question is, are you listening? Because paying attention to these messages can save you a ton of money and keep you safely on the road.